It's not
Yes.
just for women, right?
Oh, anybody should be talking, everyone should be talking about our menstrual cycles with reference. That's what I think.
Thank you, Emily. That was
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Emily. So, everyone, welcome. Come on in. Feminists, male allies, feminists identified. Come on in. Come into the circle. I'm not going to use the megaphone. I don't think I need it. Can you all hear me? Okay, great.
Let's make a bigger circle.
Do you want to make a circle?
Yeah, let's make a circle. Are we allowed to sit on that?
What do the
I
women
don't
want
want
to
to
do?
move. I don't want to move.
You don't want to move. Okay, well, you sit there, sister.
Okay, don't move.
Okay, great.
Just stand here looking forbidding.
So, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Nancy with Code Pink, and this is, who are you?
Trisha Shore
Trisha Shore.
from Philly. I'm from one of the organizers here at the National Gathering.
So, Trisha and I go back about 2 years.
Yes, yes.
We did the first, well, not the first, but, well, I guess the first feminist GA at the Occupy National Gathering in Philly, and it was amazing. We had about 200 people, men, women, everyone of every gender, every background, of different age groups, part of this feminist GA, and it was amazing. And so I was approached to kind of revisit that and bring it here. I guess there's a need to bring the feminist GA to the Occupy National Gathering again. Why, I don't know, but if anyone calls me and says, let's talk about FemGA, then I'm there, and you know, I love Trish, and I love Donna, and Punk Boy, and Nat Gat. It's great that Code Pink has this history with Nat Gat from the beginning. So I just wanted to thank Emily for that beautiful song, and I want to bring our sister back up so she can tell us her story. And Emily was, well, I'll shut up and turn over the
I'll put it in a nutshell.
Yeah, go ahead.
Had more experience telling the story than you have, probably.
Probably.
So, hi, thank you all for listening. I, last summer, was in Philadelphia on tour during the same time that there was the ramp up to military intervention in Syria. And so I went to the park to protest, the Independence Mall to protest the intervention in Syria as a member of Iraq Veterans Against the War. And I had also been asked that later that afternoon to play a song at the marijuana legalization rally, Smoke Down Prohibition, that Trish has been a part of. And while I was standing in the park waiting for my turn to play, I was approached by park rangers who had put up barricades around the area where I was already standing, and they told me that I needed to leave. And so I said, I'm happy to leave as soon as you tell me why. And they never did tell me why. But after a few minutes of my asking, they basically beat me up and threw me in the shoe for 3 days. And now they're charging me with assaulting them, which is super fun, as you guys, I'm sure, can all imagine. And so I wanted to, my trial is September 26th, and what I wanted to do being here is tie what happened to me to basically what's happening everywhere, like the reason why we're protesting what's going on in Gaza, and you know, the reason why we're all here anyway, because our rights are being violated, our First Amendment rights are being completely trampled on. There's a huge disconnect also between the rhetoric around veterans, because I was in the military for 6 years, and I don't agree with the work that I was doing in the military, but I do see all the time how veterans are given this like rigmarole of like, oh, you're our heroes, and you're fighting to defend our freedom. But then as soon as we go to the park and actually try to exercise our First Amendment rights, we're beaten up and thrown in jail, even though I said I'm a veteran, I'm a taxpayer, I'm a veteran, I want to know where my money's going. So the way I see it is, I'm sure all of you see it, what happened to me could have been any of us who was just asking why. And so I, being a songwriter, which I think they didn't really count on, me being a songwriter and former Army public affairs person, I wrote a song about what happened, and I would love to share it with you guys. Because it's a fun song. A fun song about a shitty thing. But I also you know, my main goal with being here, with writing this song and with talking about this and not just letting government screw me over, because that's sort of a less energy tactic to take, be like, fine, plea deal, whatever. Because I see that what happened with me is just like what's happening everywhere, and what could happen with any of us. If one of those cops decides to come over here and starts trouble, any of us are likely to have what happened to me happen to all of you. So this song is a Talkin' Blues number, and it's called the Talkin' National Park Service Beat My Ass Black and Blues. When I was a kid, I learned about our Constitution's First Amendment. I learned about free speech and not to trust those who would end it. I even joined the Army, where I swore I would defend it. But all my efforts were in vain, because it appears it's been suspended. Something about a Patriot Act, because real patriots don't need rights. So I went to the park in Philadelphia to protest the bombing of Syria. Some rangers came up to me while I stood there in the shade. They said, "You better move along." I said, "Why is that, did you say?" They hadn't said. Well, I repeated with a smile the question I had asked them. But still they just said, "Lady, you had better move your ass." But I just kept on asking why, while the people gathered round. When I turned my back, those rangers grabbed my wrists and threw me down. Exercising their rights to freely beat my ass in public. Well, they tossed me in their truck, and they brought me to the jail. They didn't tell me where I was or how to make my bail. I didn't get a phone call like they do on the TV. 'Cause don't you know, my friends, that shit is only make-believe. They don't have to read us our rights either, as I'm sure most of you know. So there I was in jail, instead of at my gig, thinking all the while about how this here game was rigged. They kept me locked in solitary for 75 long hours, in a room without a light switch or a curtain for a shower. So not only did I lose my mind, but damn, did I smell funky. They could smell me in the next cell, I tell ya. When they finally let me out, they charged me with assault. According to those rangers, it somehow was my fault that they had violated me, my body, rights, and all. But I guess that's just the way things go when you're standing in the wrong place at the Independence Mall. Stay away from that Liberty Bell, friends, because they will fuck you up. That's my story. Yes, I'm Emily, and thank you so much.
I'm Never to announce September 26th is her trial, and we're calling a press conference on that day. So there'll be more posted on that as it comes forward. And just one more final announcement to March 8, 2015, there will be a ERA rally where there's a woman, Helene, who's walking across the United States to chain herself Alice Paul style to the White House fence to demand equal rights. So we've seen what's happened in the Supreme Court. We see our rights being continually whittled away. What we're seeing in Emily's case, where there's no longer a right to resist illegal arrest. Her case is extremely well videoed. So you can go to EmilyYatesDoesEverything.com. You can look at those videos and you can help us get the news out that we need to stand up together to protect our First Amendment rights. So we hear the TV all the time, we hear media all the time talk about, politicians talk about Hamas and what's going on in Gaza, but we do know that the lawyers agree, international law agrees, that an occupying nation, which is Israel, an occupying nation is responsible for the safety of the civilians that they're occupying. So no matter how mad they are at some factional militant group or whatever, they have no right to forgo their responsibility to protect those children. So our right to be here today is threatened by the whittling away of our First Amendment rights to gather and to protest. We saw that today with a police officer on a horse that was backing up the horse into women and children. We all saw that today. So that's happening. And
increasing militarization of our police and the cutting back of our rights to speak up. Thank you, Emily, for all you're doing for peace.
Thank you all for giving me the time. I appreciate it.
Okay, I hope you don't get around. Thank you.
It happened in Philadelphia.
Oh, Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's where the trial's going to be.
Have everyone call the DA and tell them to F off.
That would be great.
Yes.
They should have dropped the charges a long time ago.
All right, Emily, you're amazing. Let's give Emily a So the next thing on the agenda is we'd like to read the Declaration of, by, and for women from the 2012 Feminist GA. And then we want to turn it over to our sisters and brothers who were at the Gaza March. They have a proposal to be in solidarity with the people in Palestine, and they'd like to introduce that proposal to everyone here at the GA and hopefully get some buy-in and let's see if we can pass something to stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine and with Gaza. But first we're going to read the declaration that was crafted by our sisters in the Occupy movement.
We, the women of the United States of America, on behalf of all women everywhere, hereby declare that we are inviolable sovereign entities whose worth is self-evident and whose life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and self-determination are inalienable, fundamental human rights. Does this limit it, and can we state it without being presumptuous that we claim it for all women everywhere? Whereas women have been, are, and will be the basic template bearers, sustainers of life, the gardeners, the herbalists, the healers, the nurturers, the teachers, the homemakers, the breadwinners, the builders of communities and nations, the cornerstone of our society and family.
Whereas the rule by patriarchy for thousands of years has resulted in our rights being abridged or being treated as property, our bodies being assaulted and sold, the earth, our mother, plundered and polluted by profligate greed, or our peace destroyed by continual war, our communities and families broken, and our institutions corrupted. Donna, you want to read?
Sure, Donna.
Donna from Occupy San Diego.
Whereas women have been systematically excluded from the realms of power, subjected to rape, molestation, physical assault, emotional abuse, genital mutilation, psychological intimidation, sexual harassment, sexual exploitation, workplace inequity, domestic violence, enforced poverty, lack of recognition or artistic achievements, scientific inventions, intellectual contributions and scholarly works, and lack of representation in government, despite the fact that we are 51% of the population.
Whereas the world is dangerously out of balance due to the abuse of power characteristics of patriarchy and empire building, and as there will never be an end to conflict or injustice or lasting peace and harmony so long as women are mistreated and live in one form or another of bondage, ruled by men. This is the fun part.
We, the women, hereby declare independence from sanction or approval by a patriarchal culture or world system. We abjure and condemn all forms of domination of and violence towards women and girls everywhere. We declare, we declare our human right to live in a world free from misogyny and male supremacy that oppresses us and attempts to alienate us from our sisters and the struggle for truth, justice, fairness, equality, and peace.
We unite in spirit and in action with all women and all men of conscience who join us in the struggle against the oppression of patriarchy until every woman in every nation, everywhere across the globe can live in a world that is safe, harmonious, and respectful of life and nature, where women and their sacred feminine are again respected and honored, as was the case in antiquity, and where we can live in peace and prosperity, as many matrifocal societies have done. Try reading it from an iPhone.
We hereby join in solidarity with our sisters throughout the world in reclaiming our rightful place in leadership in the family, workplace, society, worship, government, and we demand gender parity in the form of fair and equal representation. We reclaim our long-denied birthright to fully explore and utilize our physical strength, independence, and prowess, gifts, talents, intellect, spirituality, emotional sensitivity, sexuality, creativity, and power, and declare this day, July 1st, 2012, as our day of global liberation.
Great. And so that is found on the Inter-Occupy website, and that is a living document. Every Occupy can take that document and rewrite it as you see fit during that time. So Code Pink sponsored a number of delegations to Gaza. I'd have to say about 4 or 5 years ago, we sent a delegation into Gaza. It was for International Women's Day. We had